What's up? Alright, so I had a lot of attention on the previous video, the only way to farm with a Titan. A lot of people were wondering, the more nuanced details of what's going on with the build to get up so high of life and the damage and the clearing and everything like that. So I figured I would go into it a little bit more detailed. Starting with the stats. 778 strength. 8,030 life. Earlier I had that up to like 8,100. It was kind of sad to see that go, but life is actually not everything. And once you get it up to a certain point and you're not getting one shot anymore, that's pretty much the extent of it, which happens around 6,500 to 7,000, honestly. And then anything else is just kind of a bonus. You'd really have to, screw up pretty bad to get one shot by anything in maps. So the bosses are a little bit different, but some highly juiced up map bosses have some big slams, so they're going to one-shot anybody that is unlucky enough to be on the receiving end of one of those. So, armor, we're not too invested in armor. 7,200 armor, 62% physical damage reduction. The upcoming patch 1.1 is supposedly going to increase the efficiency of armor by roughly 15% as far as in the reality of how good it is in the game. So that might be something. That might be a reason to invest into it more. I haven't been investing into it recently, but the most important one is the block chance. I like to keep 75%. You start to notice a pretty big drop off after like 70%, and then 75 is just a whole nother order of magnitude better as far as blocking. So resistances, you can get these higher, you can get them much lower. You want to aim for as high as you possibly can without losing too much damage. So cold resistance is the least important one that I've found. I mean, I've never had a boss hit me with a huge cold damage slam for 10k. So that's just the reasoning behind that. You can pump it up more. I have a couple points here that could be 81, so I would just be 81 across the board. But instead I took a couple of area damage nodes here, so you can swap those out at any time. There's a Citadel boss that does cold damage. You might want to swap those out for that, but it's not going to dramatically change too much. So. Like I said, 778 strength. I had that up to, I believe, close to 800 earlier today. But like I said, I've been swapping around items like crazy, just trying to get 2 sockets and everything. So I have 2 more pieces that I need 2 sockets in. We'll go over a little bit about the mace. Cultist Great Hammer build. Contrary to popular belief, I don't think this is going to get nerfed. I think it's working as intended. You basically have to run Armor Explosion and Devastate, or there's some other cheesy Herald of Ice or whatever builds with the ring, the trash ring. That ring's a deal breaker for me, so I'm not going to be using that. But Armor Explosion and Devastate, without this is the combo that I think will not be nerfed. It's not that good. I mean, you can get it to be a screen-wide clear, but you're just investing so much into actual area of effect, and area of effect does not add to your damage. It just adds to killing trash mobs. So those trash mobs are going to die regardless when you get to them. So like in a breach, for example, you don't need to be killing monsters off of your screen. It doesn't really matter. You're just going to kill them as you come to them, and they're all going to be vaporized eventually anyway. So we don't need to be killing things off of the screen. It doesn't make things spawn any faster. So we're just killing things as they spawn almost instantaneously. So actual area, I've sacrificed a lot of area just for actual more melee damage, so and stuff like that. That's what I've found to be more efficacious, is actual damage rather than pumping up the area as big as possible. For example, magnified effect. You can put magnified effect in here. I like to put it in perfect strike because it makes the perfect strike literally almost reach across the whole screen. It's crazy. This is a big one for perfect strike. I don't know if I veered off as far as the mace, but here's the mace. You start getting up into some pretty lofty territory as far as costs go. You want gain life per enemy killed. You want strength. If you're like me, you want strength. You basically need the 636 required strength to use the mace that I use, because The negative attribute requirement suffix is a wasted mod, in my opinion. You don't need it. You should be pumping your strength as high as possible anyway, and we need melee skills, strength, and life per enemy killed. Those are non-negotiables. You could have 1 to melee skills. That's probably the least important for Mace Strike. I think it adds 15% increased damage per 15% attack damage, so per level. So that's not an astronomical thing there, but you definitely want something there instead of reduced attribute requirements. So, and then obviously the accuracy is a wasted mod, but you know, you got to take what you can get. This thing was 20 divines. You can obviously go up to 100 divines. You can go up to a mirror, you know, whatever your budget is, but you know, it's a 580 DPS, physical DPS, and then some attack speed and some stuff like that. You want to just aim high. Helmet, you can sneak in some armor here. These can get up to, you know, these can get up close to 1,000 armor. They can get up to 1,000 armor, but I don't know. I think you would sacrifice. In this case, I have mana. I didn't always run blood magic. So before blood magic, I actually needed mana. It started to become way too cumbersome in the complex. You're dodging mechanics and you're doing everything, and meanwhile you're juggling mana flasks and stuff. So I just went blood magic, and so now mana is a wasted stat. So, but anyway, you could get more armor there where that mana roll is. So, amulet. Couple wasted stats on this one. Cast speed is wasted, and rarity is wasted. But if you want to run a little bit of rarity, that's okay. High life and high strength, and then you sneak in your resistances. We're just filling out our resistances as we go. As long as you keep your stat priorities in mind, you're just going to be filling in the resistances as you go on. You know, piecemeal, piece by piece. So. The shield, I got 2 sockets today. You're gonna just basically buy these 1 divine shields, 65% block chance minimum. They can go up to 80 or maybe 81 or 82. 80% is like the equivalent of 35% faster run walk on boots. You don't need it. It will save you. It'll save you 1 point here, basically. So wherever you want to put that point, whatever, 15% more attack damage or something you'll get out of that point somewhere else on the tree. So it could be valuable depending. If you can use that point or 2 points to get you another jewel, that's probably the best case scenario. So, and you just want to buy those shields with the resistances you need and the high life roll, and then you're going to corrupt them yourself until you get 2 sockets. That's pretty much it. And that's just 2% more life. It's, you know, whatever. It's going to add probably 100 or it's probably that 2% life will probably add 100 to 120 you know, flat life to your actual character. So it's not for nothing. The ring, chaos resistance, we're trying to get that wherever we can. You start getting into chaos res on your helm and on your other items and stuff, and they start to get pretty rare and pretty pricey. So these have the chaos implicit without sacrificing too many mods anyway, so that's a pretty much #1 priority on a ring, is the chaos implicit. You know, my rings are pretty expensive. They're pretty much ideal. This is like high tier strength, high tier dex, high tier resistance, and life and fire damage. I mean, it's crazy to have. The rarity was actually not even, I didn't even intend on the rarity, but it was there, so. The ring was 16 divines. I mean, you're going to pay. So to fill in these attributes and keep your life up, I mean, you can sink a lot of points into intelligence and dexterity all around here, but your life is just going to start plummeting as you do that. So you need at least 1 good item here that just really bumps up your attributes, which leads me to the next item is this. 51 dex, 51 int. This armor, when I take off this armor, I lose 2,000 life. So just to let you guys in, the people who are asking questions on the last video, this is how you get at least 2,000 life. And like I said, it's additive. Life on this character is additive. So as far as life percentage goes, so you know, you just take the percentage that it says on the item and you take your current maximum life and punch it into the calculator. 5,000 plus 40%. And hit equal, and that will be what your life will be. There's nothing complicated about it. So this is 35% increased maximum life. So And it adds a lot. I think it adds like 150 strength as well. So this is kind of a, in my opinion, a non-negotiable. I'd rather have this than some other armor with 2400 armor or something like that. So and then the other ring is pretty similar. It has a wasted accuracy mod, but otherwise it's pretty similar to this one. It could have a damage mod there. Instead of accuracy, it could have flat fire, flat physical, flat cold, or whatever, or a percent fire damage, whatever you can afford. Gloves, you want 2 sockets. There's some options. I went through the ringer today trying to get 2 sockets. I finally got these. I think are actually maybe better with the with the damage penetrates fire resistance. I was pretty excited to have rolled that on the Val orb, but it turns out I didn't need chaos resistance, and until the new patch I won't be able to replace this. So but fire resistance penetration on the map bosses can be big, and on pinnacle bosses some of them have 75 fire res or 50 fire res or whatever. So that is basically like a flat 11% more damage that you do. Anybody without maximum resistances knows if you get hit by one of these and you're like 62% or something, it really hurts. So the same goes for a boss. You lower their resistances and you're doing a lot more damage. I went with these just to flex my life a little bit more. If I take these off and put these on, I go down to 7,700. So it's a pretty dramatic, a 200 and something, to almost 300 life. So it's a big deal. And you just sneak in the resistances where you need on the gloves. Strength, life, and resistances. The mana is a wasted mod. That could be more armor or something. A prefix. Glove prefix, you're kind of limited. It could be flat damage for one thing. Could be high physical damage. It might also be... No, melee skills is a suffix. Attack speed, I believe, is a suffix. So it could be flat damage. These could be better, but they were very expensive. The belt, close to maximum life roll, close to maximum strength roll. It is what it is. I think it can roll 180 life or something like that. 23 chaos res. I think it can roll 27. So, 6 divines for this. The boots, these could be 2 sockets and have 35% faster move speed, and those are 30 divines. So there you go. You're talking high life, high strength with chaos res, and preferably 2 sockets. I corrupted 20 lightning res on them instead of 2 sockets. So you spend 5 divines on some boots, and then you corrupt them. You're gonna, as long as you don't brick it, you're happy. So. Anyway, that's kind of the items. We do run weapon swap for bosses. I would recommend only using this on bosses that you know the mechanics really well and you know what's coming next. If you get hit with a slam without your shield on or whatever, it's not that you're going to block the slam with the shield. It's that when you swap the weapons, your resistances and everything are probably going to go to shit. Your shield is pretty important as far as resistances go. Without that shield on, you're very susceptible to, you lose 600 life and tons of resistances and everything. So you become very susceptible to becoming one shot. So, but your damage does go through the roof. It skyrockets. With the shield, you're doing 271k, and your ignite is like 71k per second ignite, which is good for map bosses and rare monsters. But when you do the weapon swap, it's almost 400k and 192. I've had these higher. I've had this higher. If we lay down this totem, for example, and we get some rage up, I'll show you the damage with 30 rage. So this is pretty much where we function in maps, and we usually end up with about 20 rage while we're using the combo on a boss, because we consume 10 rage anyway. But with 30 rage, the hammer damage goes up to 567k, and very huge ignite damage, and our mace strike goes up to like 30k. So there's that. The items, we went over the skills a little bit. The mace strike is Armor, Explosion, and Devastate, these two are mandatory, and then you can kind of play around with it how you want. I went with Heft and Martial Tempo and Rage. So as we go through the breach, we're constantly generating 3 rage every time we swing, so our rage is constantly at 30 during the duration of the entire breach. So that takes us from 20.5k to 30k, kind of as a constant, rage uptime. So there's that. There's Mace Strike. Perfect Strike is Window of Opportunity. It makes it a little bit trickier to hit the actual Perfect Strike. Not much. It's very negligible, and just bigger damage. Much bigger damage. This can one-shot map, rare mobs and maps. So you just have to rear up for a couple seconds, and then bam, the rare mob dies. Close combat, more damage as long as you're standing close. It's kind of counterintuitive with this, but it's either this or behead support, and I just go with this. I mean, it's going to kill stuff regardless. At that point, you're just splitting hairs. The ignite damage is just crazy, so it doesn't look like much on paper as far as 4k ignite damage per second or 18k ignite damage per second. Yay! It doesn't look like much, but, to a rare monster in a map, that's like melting their life instantly. So, fire penetration, that's along the same lines as like those gloves I showed you. It's just, it's a flat damage increase. It doesn't show up on the tooltip, but it definitely works, and it works in a real way. So this one is kind of mandatory. This is kind of cool. You can hit a rare mob and the whole pack around him kind of gets ignited and melts down and dies. And then it just makes it a little bit faster because using Perfect Strike is kind of clunky, but this helps a little bit. Just clears the mobs around the rare. And it makes the Perfect Strike stretch like way across the screen. You can hit a rare monster from like almost the whole screen away. Pretty cool. And then Hammer of the Gods. Everybody kind of uses the same scheme here, but Fist of War, 20% area, 20% damage. Concentrated effect. It makes the footprint a little bit smaller, but you have some nodes here that are juicing that up anyway. I think it almost breaks even to like the stock value of it, and you get 40% more area damage, which is just kind of tremendous. I mean, when you look at that, it just goes crazy. Almost 100k damage, and that's just the tooltip. In real life, it's all it's more. So 40% is huge. 40% more damage. Yeah, Fire Infusion, more damage. Primal Armament, more damage. We're Avatar of Fire, so all of our damage is fire damage. That's why we use that. Eternal Flame is basically double damage. It makes your ignite last twice as long, which is twice as much damage. So that's pretty much the breakdown there. Shield Wall, I messed around with this for a little bit. I do not use it. Shield Charge, it's just a travel skill. Second Wind and Ingenuity. Gives you 2 charges. You can kind of charge around, kind of, rapid fire. And then there's a little cooldown in between. So there's that. Infernal Cry and Seismic Cry, this is a super important combo. Big damage comes out of this combo. You're gonna, when you hit either a map boss or a pinnacle boss, you're gonna generate 20 rage. So, or actually, let me calculate that out before I go running my mouth. 20 power, 20 Warcry power, which is 35% of fire damage extra per 5 power. So that's times 4. So, you're gonna get pretty much up to that, almost the full 150% of extra damage converted to fire damage or whatever, basically. So. But anyway, you're going to generate from this is what I was really getting at. You're going to generate 20 rage from, 16 rage. Okay, let me get my shit together here. You're going to generate 16 rage from using this on a rare monster or a map boss or a pinnacle boss. It actually might be 12 for a rare monster. But anyway, you get 16 from the boss. And that 16 rage, you consume it with this. You're going to consume 10 of that rage to give 30% more damage. So with all that blabbering out of the way, that's pretty much the combo. You generate rage with this, and you consume it with this, and you do a bunch of damage. Okay, Raging Cry. And premeditation, 15% more damage. Empowered attacks do that. So when you do this, we have this node here, so we get two empowered attacks, per Warcry. So that's kind of huge. You might want to invest in empowered attack damage. And then there's ignited by supported skills have 60% chance to explode on death. That's fine, if you're clearing maps or breaches or whatever, everything's just exploding anyway. This just adds to that. This one is Corrupting Cry. This does nothing. It's just something to put in here. Dazing Cry, I can't say that this does much either. These monsters are evaporating instantly. They're not being dazed for very long. And then this is just pretty much the big one. It's just 20% quality on everything, just because it's cheap and you might as well. Time of Need, this kind of, it takes the ignites and the shocks and the freezes off you or whatever every few seconds, every 7 seconds. It's 11 seconds, and then you put fast forward in there and it goes down to 7 seconds. Berserk, this is all about rage. This increases your rage, instead of 30%, it goes up to like 48 or 49%. So as far as more damage goes per 30 rage. So this just increases what your rage does. This is a big one. 4% of life recovered on kill. So, you can kind of skip this 50 life per enemy killed if you run this, but this is kind of a big bonus. So these breaches get kind of crazy, and, you don't really want to be getting on low life in the breach. Something will one-shot you. If you get down to like 30-40% life, something is susceptible to one-shot you while you're using your life flask or whatever. So you definitely want cannibalism, and then this one is okay. This skill, inherently, you lose life per second, per rage. So this kind of mitigates some of that. I think you lose up to 3% life per second. So, and this kind of makes that 2% instead. So there's that. This is kind of important. This, you lay down the totem, he breaks the boss's armor while simultaneously giving you life regen and rage. So this combined with this mitigates this completely. So anyway, Font of Rage gives you rage. It's not much, but it's enough to get 10 to 15 rage before the boss starts to really go crazy. So, and then this generates another, this one generates another 16 right away. So you're kind of 20. I wind up being about 20 rage when I drop the hammer on the boss in a perfect world. So sometimes things are too hectic to really give a shit, but you just lay this down and stand near it. There's that. What else is there? There's the passive tree. Okay, so everything here is kind of self-explanatory. Strength, armor, and heat proofing is a big one. And area of effect is a big one. Physical damage converted to fire damage. Extra fire damage is a big one. Maximum resistances. Obviously, Giant's Blood. And your other sort of keystones are Avatar of Fire and Blood Magic. You do want to focus on jewel sockets pretty heavy. I run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 jewel sockets. One of the ways you get more life is with Against the Darkness. This one is a pretty big. This one gives you about 800 life, I think. You pop this off and you're at 7,200, and then you get about 800 life out of this if you're juiced up. I get 12% maximum life from these small nodes, and then you're gonna get some percent increased strength. I get 16% increased strength from the notables. There's 4 of them in here. So there's the Against the Darkness I use. You can use one with increased life and increased a single maximum resistance or whatever. I was going with lightning resistance for a while and juiced my lightning res up to like 87%, but I was fighting a lot of Stone Citadel bosses and stuff like that, or I was fighting some Citadel boss with the lightning damage, like Doriani or something, and so I popped that one in there. I think I actually still have it right here. Yeah, maximum lightning res for when you fight Doriani, level 4 Doriani. His lightning damage is no joke, so everything here is pretty self-explanatory except the jewels. The jewels I can't really put in on Mobalytics without just typing every detail out, so this just gives you an idea. We want to jack up our maximum resistances as much as we can and just maintain some form of damage modifier on these as well. The different jewels other than rubies are not really conducive with the Titan, but you can get some. Increased attack damage and duration of ignite. You know, if your ignite lasts 11% longer, it does 11% more damage. So, as far as the other jewels, this one is, I know, block chance and some other stuff. Life regen doesn't really matter to me. Block chance and chance to ignite and damage with maces and area of effect. It's a pretty good one. This one is max cold res and magnitude of ignite. This could be better. I'm in the process of replacing this one. This one is damage with maces and empowered attacks deal 20% increased damage. I tried running with 4 of these. The damage is not really noticeably higher, but it's, you know, 20% increased damage. And then you get a couple more of those on your weapon swap. So empowered attacks deal a lot more damage. You're pretty much juicing up your Warcry to empower your hammer as much as possible. When you're fully juiced up with the Wombo combo, it's very noticeable. As far as the weapon swap goes, you know, you're running basically damage with two-handed weapons and increased magnitude of ailments, empowered damage, and magnitude of ignite and fire damage. Here, that's a big one. Damage with hits against ignited enemies. This one, it doesn't really come into play, but they're already kind of hit when you ignite. You know, you're not igniting the boss and then dropping the hammer on it. Anyway, splitting hairs there, but fire damage and penetration. And then damage at close range. Also, you want to be pretty close to the boss when you drop the hammer on him and stay close. And that's a pretty big deal there as far as the actual percentage of damage goes. It's pretty big. Almost 100%. So 40, 60, 80, 84%. That's a big one. And then just some extra melee damage there with the weapon swap. And then when you swap back, you're going to be running block chance and area of effect and stuff that's going to be working with this weapon here. So there's pretty much that. It's not rocket science. Block chance and an area of effect and stuff like that. Area of effect. This is the weapon swap here. So there's the passive tree. I don't know how long this video is. Probably a half hour long already. We'll run a map. I have the map juiced up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 towers. It's pretty juicy. Magic monsters. Breaches have a 17% chance to contain an additional breach. Breaches have 60% increased monster density. Breaches spawn 25% increased magic monsters and 67% rarity. It's juiced up with probably close to a divine worth of tablets. And then obviously we're running an explicit modifier per precursor tower. And 20% chance to double the effect of the precursor tablet. So that's 1 in 5. You know, 1 in 5 breach will have double the effect of all that, all those mods right there. So we'll run a Savannah. It's pretty good for breach, and I'll be able to show you this map boss. It is map boss difficulty 2 right now, just because I've just been grinding. I grinded 94 recently, so the map boss difficulty 4 just makes them super annoying, and then this can make them really annoying with the temporal bubble and the mana, you know, the mana siphon and all kinds of stuff. Mana siphon doesn't really affect me, except I could be wrong, but I think it slows down the perfect strike and slows everything down, and it's just annoying. So, but I'm going to leave that on for the breach, and if it affects the boss, we'll just be unlucky. But map boss difficulty 4 is okay. I just went with quantity and rarity. Map boss difficulty 2. So there's that. We'll misclick on this tower and come back out real quick. And for the map, I have a, you know, whatever, 15x map. It's just experience gain. The gold found in the area is kind of a wasted stat. Quantity, rarity, magic monsters, number of rare monsters, and pack size. All prefixes, no suffixes. You're going to spend some X on that. You're going to spend probably 15X on that. And there's that. It should just be a T15 map unless it gets some... It might get corrupted or whatever upon entering it. We'll see. It's T15. 149% rarity. Number of rare monsters breach. 37% chance to contain an additional breach. 60% monster density and 33%. I think it's influenced by the Atlas passives. I don't know if it's doubled. I don't think it's quite doubled, but we'll see if we can get a couple breaches out of this one. Hopefully they're duplicated and you get at least 2. You know, that's all you can really hope for. Just kind of zip around and look for the rare mobs and then look for the... and then just look for your breaches. Well, that might have been the only 2 rare mobs in the whole map. That's weird. That's really weird. Usually when you see that little explosion, that means that's the last rare monster in the map. That would be really weird with all this juice on there, so... we'll run through this breach real quick. It should be pretty dense. I don't know if it'll be game-breaking or anything like that, but yeah, it's just a little showcase of the clearing abilities. And if stuff's... I like to save the war cries for a rare monster if you can. It really just juices up the mace strike so much. And you just never know with the rarity and stuff. It could, you know, you could drop divines and stuff like that, so. And the warrior's never going to be, you know, the absolute fastest, but it's doing pretty good. You can juice up the area of effect more than this, but your damage is going to suffer. Actually, everything kind of suffers when you focus on area too much. I think the area is okay. It's passable right now. I've had it probably almost double this amount of area before, and you can't really notice too big of a difference. We really want to focus on these rares. They're going to drop a lot of good stuff, so... And that's going to be that for that one. Go run around and see if we have another one. And then we'll just track down the boss and kill him. That's where shield charge kind of comes in handy. That might have been the only rares in this map. That is really strange. Boss is usually in this top corner here, we'll see. Try not to get one shot by the boss before I pick up all the loot. I mean, it's possible, you know, it's always possible. These bosses can be kind of gnarly, so. This boss in particular can be kind of gnarly. We'll get some rage together here. Drop the hammer on him. Get a perfect strike going. Try and get him fully stunned. You kind of wait till he does his big attack and then... There you go. Yeah, you can get the area bigger, but... I like to be a little bit on the tankier side rather than just have a huge area of effect. I mean, people make a really big deal out of clearing the whole screen and everything. I really don't care. I like to just play the game and As long as I have some AoE, I'm happy. That's why I'm not really worried if they nerf this hammer, the Cultist Great Hammer or whatever. I'm not really worried about them nerfing that because I'm not exploiting it in some weird way. So I think even if they do nerf it a little bit, it's still going to do what it's doing right now. This is just armor explosion and devastate. So it's like a proliferation of every armor that you, or every monster that you're fully stunning is, their armor is fully broken and then they explode. So there's no real exploit there. They've actually already nerfed that once. So this is pretty much the finished product, I would assume. And you know, it's not a speed demon, but it actually kind of is, as far as you know, just the efficiency of everything just dying in the one hit there. You're man, is there just one breach and then one rare monster in this whole map? That is pretty disappointing. Okay. There's one unexplored spot in the middle, but I don't see any more purple, like purple swirlies, so that's pretty much the end of the road. I guess it could be tucked away in this corner over here, but I doubt it. You pick up your big ticket items. Not that boots can be super big ticket in this map. They kind of need to be in like a T18 map, but I doubt that it's over there. Yeah, I think it was just going to be that one breach. That's unfortunate. Just go double check. Jeez. Savannah is great, they said. Nothing will get in your way. Definitely no fucking little rock buildings. Alright, one breach. Yikes, look at these walls. This Savannah was really weird. I really juiced up this Savannah for no reason. Jeez. Alright, that's the extent of that one. Do a level 4 Xesht real quick. See if we can get through this breach. The last couple times I've actually had trouble getting through this breach here. On the level 4 only, obviously. Oh, come on, work with me here, buddy. You just have to take your time and focus more on killing everything than chasing down the actual breach. You know, the damage on the warrior is always kind of an ongoing sort of struggle, but the tankiness is definitely crazy. Oh, we might fail it. I don't know. No, we got it. Yeah, we got this one. You know, it's kind of dicey as far as the warrior goes on level 4. But there's nothing saying you really have to run this on level 4. It's just kind of a DPS check at the end. Let's see, do we need to manipulate anything here? I think we should be good. Okay, good. Yeah, this is just kind of a tankiness, you know, checkpoint and DPS checkpoint. See how much rage we can get in these couple seconds while he's sort of coming out. I don't think this one does too much. Got a lot of health. Yeah, I mean, there's that, you know. The damage could be better, but pretty tanky. I don't know of many characters that can put up with all that. But that's pretty much it. Level 4 Xesht. Tank test. That's pretty much the character in a nutshell. I mean, the video seems super long-winded, and I doubt anybody's going to watch it, but that's it. 8,000 life Titan. You know, whatever. There you go.